Hey, this is Big Guy DIY Robert coming to you with another repair. This is on my F150, and what it is the back door on the driver's side is triggering a doors ajar warning in my dash. But this also affects a whole bunch of other things. It affects the interior lights. They stay on all the time. Eventually they do shut off. The alarm won't set when I use the fob to lock the truck. The rear door will not lock. I have to actually open the door separate and lock it by hand. A couple nights ago I went to pick up my daughter and the interior lights did not go off at all for well over a half hour, and so I was driving at night with interior lights on. Makes it a little more difficult to see. So yes, there is a bunch of videos out there, well, 4 or 5 that I saw, showing you things to look at. And so I'm going to bypass a lot of the steps. A lot of these people went ahead and took apart their entire door versus trying to go to the most common problem with this. And so we're going to do the same thing. The only thing I brought out with me is just one tool. That's all I need. One of the suggestions was spray WD-40 or some kind of silicone in the lock mechanism to see if that's frozen. Obviously that didn't make a difference. The other one is the wire harness going down the door jamb and from the door jamb into your door. Wires break there. And then the last but worst case scenario is the locking mechanism itself. Now with my experience through having a Subaru Outback is I have the wires going from the rear, from the roof line to the rear tailgate, the top part of the tailgate as it opens up this way. I have wires in that break all the time. It kind of irritates me because I'm always pulling that boot off to get at it. So I'm going to make the assumption right off the bat that because the wires the way they are situated in this vehicle, it's going to be the wire harness. Something tells me I got to have a broken wire or two within it. So I'm going to show you how to open up this boot, how to pop it out of the door jamb. And so the first thing you need to do is open, let's switch view here. So what you want to do is open your back door and your front door. This is the boot that we're going to take off, and there are 2 clips to it. There's a clip on this side and a clip on this side. You can use a screwdriver or this tool here, which is just a prying tool. We're just going to gently pry it into here and get that side to pop out. Go to this side. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to push it right here in the middle. And there we go. So now our wire harness, we have access to the wire harness here. Now we need to unplug it. It unplugs from this side. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a screwdriver and you're going to go down, let's see, the left side here of this plug. Sorry, the right side of the plug. And there's a pin right here on the top that you push in and it unplugs. Next, pull your boot, peel your boot back. And here's your wire harness. See how this is all gathered up? That's because of constant flexing, bending of this wire in the door. So we're going to take this off. We're going to get a knife and take this off. So what we're looking for, ooh, bingo. Focus, focus, here we go. We got 2 wires, and we got another wire right here starting to go. So let me undo this tape and see what we can do next. Now this here, I've seen this before. It's usually white. This here is like a stiffener. It's taped to the wire, and what it's trying to do is prevent the wire from bending at a sharper degree. It's allowing the wire to bend more, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm lost for words here. It's allowing the wire to bend more evenly, so less chance of it breaking. So don't throw this out. Wow. I got 4 wires here. One, 2, 3, 4. All breaking. And this has happened before. Here's another broken wire. This has been repaired. So, what I'm going to do, since I know what the issue is, I'm going to look up to see if I can order a new wire harness on this. Yeah, this has been repaired before already. All this is cut back. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to remove the entire door panel. I want to pull this whole wire harness out. Instead of trying to just solder it, I'm going to pull it out, see if I can order a new one. If it was just 2 wires, I probably would just fix it. But because we got 4 wires, and 2 others that were already replaced, I think the life of the wires are past the life of the wires, I guess you want to say. So you gotta take the top jam off first. It just pops out. Got a screw here. I know I got to disconnect this, so there's going to be a screw in here someplace. Alright, let me show you the screws on the outside that I know. We got a screw here at the top. Screw down there. Where the heck is it? Right there. And then on the opposite side. Right down there. Pull those through 3 screws. This whole door panel will come off. But we need to tackle this first and unplug the wire harness from that, because there's limited length to that wire harness. So let me go get some tools here. Okay, it's metric. 6 millimeters. Squeeze this tab. Try to hold the camera with the other. Try to hold the camera. There we go. I was wondering about that. So there's another one. So it's 4. $8 millimeter for the door handle. So we need to detach the door thing, the door lever here, the cable from this. There's a tab on the inside here. What it is the tab allows you to push this back. I wonder. We can just do that. What I did was I pushed on these 2 clips and just pushed the door in. So I'm gonna put that cable back in. Now I pulled this door off before. You can see my duct tape here. Wire harness has these clips here, and there'll be a click here. They just pop out like so. There we go. Interior door cover removed. All right, so we got a plug behind this, behind the speaker. That's why I had this off before my speakers went bad. on this truck. When I bought it, they were blown already. So we got to disconnect it from here. All these wire harnesses, they all have like a tab you got to push in. And then same for in here. You can find it. Find it or feel it. All right, to the lock mechanism, this is your plug, and here's your tab. So it's on the inside of the door. You'll need a screwdriver to get at it and turn it, pop it in. As for the speaker, I think I'm gonna pull the speaker out because I want to be able to see into this area here, and I can do that best with this out. So we're gonna remove the speaker. Speaker 732. What happens when you get vehicles now? Everyone says made in America, made in America. Well, some parts are and some parts aren't. And here's your example. So, trying not to get your screws messed up. The screws that hold the door panel on are shorter than the screws that hold the speaker. Keep that in mind. Because these use plastic inserts, which are falling apart, I would not use the electric drill gun to put it back in. I would do it by hand. So here's my tab. Speaker out. There we go. So as you can see, this boot here used to go all the way up to the end. It's already been stripped back, cut. These two wires had already been fixed. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I'm going to do on this wire harness is your part number right there. So you can just bring this right into Ford, you know, because this here was made in America. And order a whole new harness. I do not know how the harness will come, but when we come back to this, I will show you what the new harness looks like. Or if it's gonna, because of the supply chain currently, if this takes too long to get, I am gonna just solder these back together, which I'll show you how to solder it, because I'm not gonna use a butt connector. What do you call it there? the shrink butt connector. I think the main reason why it's just too close to here. If it was further up, like say up here, I'd use a butt connector, but because it's close, so close to here, I would solder it. Before I solder, I put shrink tubing on here, solder it, and then slide the shrink tubing up over my solder, and then use a heat gun. But until then, let me see if I can order this part from Ford. Meanwhile, the door will still work. Obviously, crap, I gotta close my window. Jeez, I didn't think of that. So we're gonna close the window. I just screwed this back on just to keep it in place so the door can still be opened up. Right there. Yeah, and we're going to keep the speaker out. So we're just going to keep the door open until we can do what we need to do next. Wire harness has showed up. There's the old wire harness. Reason I did not go the route for repairing this wire harness is a couple reasons. One, this harness, there we go. One, this harness was already repaired once, right here. Two, if I were to repair this, if I didn't have a choice, let's say the new harness was not available, it would take say a couple of weeks, then I probably would have gone the route of repairing this. To do this, what I would have done is cut a little of the I would have cut a little of the wire jacket back, exposing the copper wire. You slide on shrink tubing on both of these. Then I would solder this. I would not use butt connectors. The reason why is the butt connectors are not going to give you the flex that you need. It'll create a really stiff point in this wire. So what happens with that is because the wires are already stressed from being bent back and forth from being inside the door jamb, that just creates more stress at each end of the butt connector, and then it'll even break either closer to the plug or further away from the plug. I wasn't willing to take that chance right now. Plus, then you got this wire here and this wire here. This one here already has broken pieces. The way I would have fixed these is I actually would cut it up in here, slide on shrink tubing, shrink the tubing around this and here, because the wire has not broken completely through. Then where I cut it up here, I would use a butt connector because the distance between the plug and where I made the cut here is not going to be as negative as it would be being this close to the plug. But with this having really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe 8 breaks already in the wiring harness, the wire's stressed out. It's at a point where it's been bent so many times, it's just going to create more problems down the road and probably very close to where I would have to pull the door apart again and again. So here's the new one. What I did is I just gave Ford this part number. I did a search on online and this part was not available anywhere. So I gave Ford that number, the Ford dealership. I was able to get the new harness within 24 hours. And it's a complete harness, so there's nothing I have to add to it. Even the tabs that go into the inside of the door to hold this wire harness are all in the same location. I compared it to the old wire harness. One thing I wanted to show you was, I want to take this boot off and show you what the wiring looks like behind there. We'll do it two ways. This is one way. You can see how this is sealed up. And here we go. So in here, which you can't see, is this little plastic thing is inside here. It's wrapped in there. That's to keep this a little on the stiff side. That's why everything tends to break up here, because it's not flexing in here. Will I remove it? No. I'm just going to keep it as is. This is new wiring. I should not have to start monkeying with it. I'm just going to leave it as is and install it, because if it breaks again, it'll probably be another 8 years down the road, and by then I probably won't even have the truck. It might be in a junkyard by then. So we'll put our boot back on. And we're going to go reinstall this in the truck. Alright, before plugging this back in, one thing I want to do is put a little dielectric grease on here. Alright, all my electrical connections, same thing, dielectric grease. And you just put a little in each one. No warning sign. And it works. Now we got to put that door protector back on. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So this is the cover that goes on the door. It's like a really heavy plastic, but nothing really sticks to it. When I reinstalled this last time I had it off, I just used Gorilla tape, but even Gorilla tape doesn't even really stick to it. So I'm going to try something slightly different. This is double-sided tape, which means it's adhesive on this side as well as this side. So I'm not going to cover this whole thing with this because, hey, maybe a time I have to take this off again. So what I'm going to do is put this in certain areas to hold it on. I'm still going to use my Gorilla duct tape along this top edge just to hold it in place when I put it on. But the moment, I'm not going to stick this tape on here, I'm going to stick it on the doorway. Ford uses a special like foam silicone glue on that, and once you peel it off it doesn't want to re-stick all the way around, but I still have my sticky marks all around here, almost like a rubber cement, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is put my double-sided tape on different spots on the door to help hold that on. Okay, when I put the double-sided tape on, I chose high spots. You can see here's a low spot, here's a high spot. I chose high spots because that's where the plastic's going to touch. Up here I didn't put any on the top part because I'm going to use Gorilla duct tape to hold that on. I need to take this out. Next, we're just going to pull the backing off. There we go. So this is 1-inch Gorilla duct tape. It's a heavy duty duct tape. It's a little more sticky than other duct tapes I've used. I like it. So Now we got our duct tape on. Now we have to reinstall the door panel. Here are the hooks that go into the slots. You're going to be sure that you push your door handle and your wiring for your window through. Your door handles just pop in place. Reinstall your screw. A little black cover over the screw. Window switch. Then our screws to hold the panel back in. So hold your panel. Remember, you got one on top of the door frame and then two on the bottom. And there we go. Door panel back on. Oh, we got this trim piece. There you go. All set. So overall that took, I'd say give yourself an hour to do that work. The wire harness for me cost what did I get it for? $92 at a Ford dealership. I did look online for it, shopped around. I found it on eBay for $137. I also found it as high as $225, which that price is BS. Shop around, call around. You can get better prices out there. It's not a difficult project to do this, but like I said earlier, if the wire harness is starting to break up in multiple places, it's past its time. Just replace it, because if it breaks now, it's going to break again, and it's going to break later. Get fresh wires in there, you'll get another 8-10 years out of it before it starts breaking left and right. So just be patient when you're taking the door panel off. Again, that was Gorilla tape, 1-inch thickness that I was using, and the other tape I use is called double-sided tape. Gorilla also makes that. That's very helpful for putting this panel on, because the plastic that inside liner is made of, tape really doesn't stick to it too well. Ford's using a special glue, rubber cement like product that adheres to it quite well, and also adheres to the metal quite well. But what we get off the shelf doesn't adhere to it as easily. So if this helped anyone out, hey, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know that you liked it. Any comments or questions, write them down below in the comments section, and I'll do my best to get to it. So this is one door down. Now I got to work on the driver's door. Take care. Big Guy DIY signing off. Have a good one.